Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Next Level Real Talk Podcast, where we have conversations on the journey of personal transformation and the pursuit of lasting peace and happiness with Sheldon and David. And welcome back to another episode of Next Level Real Talk Podcast with Sheldon and David. Hey, David, how are you?
Good, doing well, Sheldon. Hope you're doing well. I
Yeah.
know it's been a while since our last podcast, but lots of little things have come up. But I hope you listened to our last podcast and listen to some other ones in this little interim time. Uh, so
Yeah. Appreciate you liking and subscribing and sharing it and commenting and all that other good stuff. It does help support us and get the message out to people. So if you like what we're talking about, would love that support. Um, yeah, it means a lot.
definitely, definitely does. Yeah, yeah, it's been a good couple of weeks. Doing well, doing good here. Hope you're doing well. I wanted to quick before we jump into everything. It's been a while, so we'll talk about our last episode. Was the power of no, and hopefully you did some homework. Hope you guys are doing good. Kind of reminding you, it was they wanted you to fill your yeses and nos. Am
Yeah.
I just saying yes to say yes, or am I saying yes because I feel like, hey, I can do that,
Yep.
and being okay with your no's,
Yep.
and the homework was be true to your yeses and nos,
Yeah.
because that'll help with what's spilling out, which is another episode.
Yep.
We just keep going back. So
Yep.
it's like what's spilling out, and if you're
Yep.
honest with your yeses and nos, then the true you is there. So
Yep.
it's okay. So if you go back and listen to that, episode, the power of no.
Yeah. And all of it is kind of this theme, right? We've been talking about becoming kind of more aware. I think so many of
Mm-hmm.
us live sort of unconsciously through our lives, right? And uh, Joe Dispenza, he's a guy who studies the psychology of the mind and he gives workshops and meditation workshops all over the world. He's pretty famous. He's written a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
books and he has one book called Breaking the Habit of Being You. I think that's the title,
Oh.
because we're habituated. A lot of stuff is just remote
Mm-hmm.
control reaction. Something happens, react, something happens, react. And so our theme has always been becoming more aware of what it is that's coming up within you, right? And getting
Mm-hmm.
into touch with that. And but anyway, so yeah, the last couple weeks, if you look back at any of our episodes, ultimately that's what it's about is,
Mm-hmm.
connecting to how you're truly feeling and honoring and respecting that and then clearing some of that stuff. But we also came came across a quote from a woman named Teal Swan. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if any people who are watching, have ever heard of her. She is I don't know what you might call her, a modern day mystic, right? She's a deeply intuitive person. She has a huge following, such a big following that I think it
Yeah.
was Hulu did a hit piece on her, try to put it out,
Yeah.
which I
Well,
found which I found ridiculous. But
because they went in trying to do a nice documentary,
they
and then
said
they
they were
wound
going
up
to do a nice
yeah,
documentary,
they
and then
turned it on her.
they followed her for 3 years, filmed all this stuff, and then turned it into
Mm-hmm.
making her look like a psycho. So she had responsibility. Anyway, she had a quote, and she's all over social media. She got a pretty big following and organization. And we were talking about it. So let me just read
Mm-hmm.
it to you. And it's about this idea of control. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so many of us want to control our lives, and we feel like that when we gain control of our external circumstances, then we're going to be happy, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so the quote is, "You cannot control whether or not you have a reaction to something. You cannot even choose what reaction to have. What you can do is choose what to do with the reaction you are having." So I think that this is very much in the alignment with the other things that we've always talked about. But it's like you can't control whether you're going to have a reaction, right? Because what comes up,
Comes up.
and it comes up
Mm-hmm.
instantaneously, and you can't. And when most of us try to stop that, right?
Yeah.
And then we end up bottling things down. And we've had many of these episodes talking about that idea, shoving
Yep.
stuff down. What you resist persists. I don't want to feel that thing. Boom. You know what I mean? And you try to shove it down. So you can't
Yeah.
control it. It's going to happen,
A
right?
reaction's a reaction. It's happening.
Yeah. And so you
Yeah.
can't choose the reaction you're going to have because that is what it is, right?
That's
Whether
what
it's
it is.
anger, whether it's jealousy, whether it's fear, whether it's shame, whatever it is, the
Mm-hmm.
thing that when something triggers you outside, whatever pops up is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But then what she says is, but you can choose what to do with that. Like,
Yeah.
okay, boom, I'm feeling all this anger coming up. What am I going to do with that thing? So this idea of the power of control, people want to control stuff. People want to, um,
They
uh,
want to control their life mainly.
yeah,
It's
people
like,
want to
hey,
feel
my life
control.
out of control.
Yes.
And obviously, in our main tag, we talked about the personal transformation and pursuit of peace and happiness.
Yep.
And that transformation is being like, how, yes, we all want to control our lives, we need to control, but how do we transform to find that happiness
Yeah.
and that peace by understanding that in this quote, the reaction is going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to happen. This is going to happen. How do I choose to go forward with it?
Yeah. And it's like, does control, as in tightly grasping on everything around me, like I'm afraid about my job, I'm controlling my finance, I'm afraid about my children, what are they going to do? I'm going to hold
Mm-hmm.
tight on all of these things. Does that actually bring happiness? And
Yep.
the truth of the matter is, it's the opposite, right? It brings
Mm-hmm.
stress and fear and anxiety, and it actually makes all of those things worse, right? Oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
what's going to happen to the economy? Oh my God, what's going to happen to my job? Oh my God, what if my kid crosses the street wrong? Oh my God, da, 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 right? And all we're doing is generating
Yep.
more anxiety, more stress, more fear, and it creates a vicious cycle. And so most
And
of
we
us live in that, right?
Yeah, and there's that thing. It's always the next better thing. It's like, well, if I can just pay off this car and then I
Yeah,
can put money towards this. If
yeah,
I just pay off this, I can do this. If I could buy that, if I could do this, if I could have this job, then I'd be able to do this. Well, once you get there, it's time to go on to the next one.
yeah,
So it's like almost like never good enough.
for
So how do you
sure.
control it? It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, you want to pay off the car. Yeah, you want to pay off the house. Yeah, you want a better job, a better, career or whatever. But in the process of getting there, how are you going to have control without having the fear, the the anxiety,
yeah,
and pursue
and
that peace, happiness
yeah,
on that?
and then the thing about it is that people also want to control the world, you know? When the
Yes.
war is
Hmm.
over, if only this political party were in control, if the
Hmm.
economy were different, you know what I mean? So those ideas and
Yep.
desires to control situations become macrocosmic where, you know, um, and then that can become overwhelming, right? Whether
Yeah.
it's your town, your community, your neighborhood, your school, your state, your
Hmm.
country, the world, right? You can take that out in all of these ever expanding circles of
Hmm.
either love and compassion or fear, right? And this desire to control. And so that's what is happening right now, it feels like, right? People want to control more and more and more and
Yeah.
more. And then they
Hmm.
feel like they have control of less and less and less and less. And yet they're grasping tightly to try to control what they can.
Hmm.
And so sometimes
One
it, go ahead.
one big thing, and understand we are not political on this
Hmm.
show at all, but it's something as we're talking about, just kind of funny because it just came up to me. We're talking about, well, if only we had this, we'd be better. So let's go back. People, we're not political. I'm just stating fact. It's kind of funny to look at. Is when Joe Biden was in office, Republicans said if we just get him out of office and we get Trump in office, everything's gonna be so wonderful.
Yeah,
Well, now we're seeing a divide within the Republicans.
yeah,
It's not so honky dory anymore.
yeah,
So it's like, well, if we have this, it's gonna be so much better. Uh oh, we're having a problem now.
yeah,
Same thing. I mean, who knows? In a couple of years, Democrats say if we just get him out of office and get Democrat in office, everything's going to be great. I don't know. I don't see the future. There might be some strife within their own party again. So it's not always, well, if this happens, the world's going to be wonderful.
yeah,
So know that we're seeing that take place right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
How different is anything, right? You know what I mean? Does anything really change? And if you're, if you're, if you're worried about those things, which obviously we all are concerned about those things, right? But in trying to control, and then what happens, I think, is that since you can't control the world politics, and you can't control the world economy, and you can't control your state, and you can't control your school, so that you can't control your street, so then you want to control your family, and so what happens is, I think, is that there's an ever increasing pressure to control what
Mm,
you can control, which is this little pocket of my world. And then people get really, really, really intense about that. So then you see this increasing intensity and this desire to control this one little
uh,
thing, like it's your kid.
mm-hmm,
Now I'm going to, micromanage that, or my job, or, my car, or whatever little thing that I can feel a sense of power around. Um, and really that is a surrendering of power to this external circumstance, right? And
yeah.
so so how do you, so then what do you do with that, right? We're sitting here and saying, okay, so a lot of our episodes have talked about this idea of surrendering, right? Of releasing. But there is in this quote, right? So, I'm going to read it again. You cannot
Mm-hmm,
control whether or not you have a reaction to something. So just release that idea, right? Just letting
Yeah.
go of the idea that, okay, I can't control my reaction. I'm going to have a reaction, right?
Yeah. So
Uh,
okay, real quick, okay, on that one sentence, and I'm just gonna keep
mhm.
going on. Sheldon says something, I'm gonna react one way or the other. I
Yeah.
don't know how I'm reacting because I don't
Yep.
know what the question is. But if
Yep.
he says something, there's gonna be a reaction,
Yes.
one way or the other. Okay, now
And
go to the next one. Yeah.
losing and letting go of this need to control how that what comes up, right? Because
Hmm.
people sometimes do that, right? They want to, so then they're in their head really hard. You can tell when people are like that.
Hmm. So read that sentence again. Go to the
You
second
can't
one.
even choose the reaction you're going to have, right? So she says you cannot even choose what reaction to have. So I'm gonna, and so that's what happens when there are people that want to be positive. Oh, well, it's about positive energy, or let's put out positive energy. So then they're afraid when something negative pops in their head, and they try to shut that down because they want to have a positive thought, right? I want to keep on
Hmm.
thoughts, right? And it's like trying to brainwash yourself to be only positive, right? So you can't control what's coming up. You can't control whether or not something's going to come up or not. But what you can choose to do, what you can choose, what you can do is to choose what you're going to do with the reaction you're actually having. In other words, what am I going to do with that thing that is coming up?
Hmm.
And in other words, anger is coming up. Well, what am I going to do with that anger? You know,
Hmm.
Sadness is coming up. That hurt me. Okay, what am I going to do with this pain that's coming up? You said something mean to me, and I'm feeling an emotional reaction. What am I going to do with that? Am I going to be able to hold space with that? Am I going to move through that? Am I going to allow that? And then I can choose. Once I see that clearly, I can choose what I'm going to do with
What
that
direction to go
thing.
with it? Yeah.
Yeah, with that thing. So that's what she's saying. You can choose what to do with the reaction you're having, and that's power. That's power. That
Control.
is
That's
true
control.
power. And that's a form of control, right? So now I'm
Hmm.
aligning my attention, my energy, my thought in a direction like, okay, let me sit with this. That's a
Hmm.
choice and that's a power, right? And that is a form of control. You can call it that, but really it's about just aligning your intention and your
Hmm.
energy and your mind in a specific direction, right?
When we talked about it before, you're sitting with what's happening. It's like,
Yeah.
what is this feeling? Like we talked about when I
Mhm.
was going through some,
Mhm.
like, what am I feeling? Like
Yep.
that. What is my reaction?
Yep.
Now, as in Sheldon's right, we think about reactions as all being negative.
Yep.
What if my reaction is I'm so excited about this?
Mhm.
Feel that.
Yeah.
Because see where you are. Sit down, go like, this is cool. Why am I having this happy feeling? Because I don't want to sit there and, don't analyze your happiness too
Yeah.
much, but understand this also comes in with happiness and with
Yes.
joy and with
Yes.
excitement.
100%.
Okay. So what can you do with that? Well, I'm excited about, okay, let's just say our swim to light. Okay, we raised $12,000 a year. Good job, ladies. Okay, for mental health. Let's say Valley Wise comes in and says, "Hey, we did this, this, and this with your money." I'm so excited. You know
Yeah.
what? I'm going to go out and do another campaign for them. How am I going to choose to deal with that? Go like, okay, good, and walk away. Or am
Yeah.
I going to choose to do something more?
Yeah.
And, so there's a choice in happiness too.
Yes.
So,
100%. The
so
Taoists are very much big into that. They talk about going up, going down. It doesn't matter.
mhm.
Right. You know what I mean? You're always, you know, looking at what's
And
coming up.
yeah, it could be enjoy, use that euphoria, get
Yes.
excited, be
100%.
happy. And how
Beautiful.
am I going to go out and boast to people, or am I
Yeah.
just be excited and see that they
Yeah.
let them see that I'm excited?
Yes.
Because there's a whole other level. You're
Yes.
excited, but I'm going to
Yes.
boast about the excitement, and now I
Yes.
can see it on a different level up.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. There's a whole, there's tons of teachings on that, right? About what it is that happens, when that comes up. But the
mhm,
first key is being aware, right? And a lot of our lessons, right? We were talking about the previous episodes about what's in your cup and the power of no and
mhm,
all of this stuff. If there's a theme to the channel, it's about becoming more aware of what's coming up within you,
yeah,
allowing that to come up naturally without being in resistance to it, right? um, and then choosing how you're going to align your energy, right, and your thoughts, and looking at
mhm,
what's coming up without judgment or condemnation, right, with being loving and compassionate to yourself. With if you feel like anger is coming up but you think, oh, because people uh, ultimately, people oftentimes will feel like, we often feel like, um, if we have a bad thought, we're a bad person.
exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's one
Mhm,
of the fundamental things is with power of meditation, is when you learn that you are not what you think. Like, you're not what you think. thoughts just pass through. That whole Buddhist idea that, right,
Mhm.
that thoughts are like clouds passing through the sky. You're not the clouds, you're not your thoughts, you're the
Mhm.
sky through which the clouds pass. You're this vast
Mhm.
consciousness, this awareness through which these things pass. And that's that idea of this too shall pass. All these things will pass through you, right? So things pass through your awareness. And then how do you choose to align that awareness once you're seeing that those things are coming up, right? So this big
And if you
cloud of ugliness is coming up. What do I do with that, right? And that's what
and
Teal's talking about.
if you want to learn more on that, read The Untethered Soul. It's a lot
Yes,
about how to deal
100%.
with those clouds and that.
Yes.
And that's a book that I read that Sheldon encouraged me to read. And I tell you what, it's really cool
Yeah.
because that's where I am now. It's like
He's a
if you say you don't have bad thoughts, thanks for lying to me because we're human. So because we all have them and we have them daily,
you want to
multiple
stop bad
times
thoughts from
a day.
happening. Good luck with that.
Yeah,
Let me know how that
yeah,
goes.
right.
It's not,
So yeah, come talk to us on the show because we would
yeah.
love to have you because
Yeah,
we love
exactly. We
listening
want to
about
interview you. We want to talk to you for sure.
it. So know that you're gonna have that, and just
Yeah.
kind of like let that process. Just like, why am I so angry at this?
Yeah.
Oh, because someone did that, and I'm angry at them for this.
Yeah.
It's like I'm taking it out on somebody else.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it, or maybe they've upset me. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
So let's just kind of observe that cloud as it goes by,
Yeah.
and see why is that cloudy in my life,
Yeah.
and just let it go. Don't
And
hold on to that cloud,
and
but see
trying
that.
not to judge the cloud.
Yes.
Again,
Mhm.
because we
That's
think if
judging
we
you.
have a bad thought, we're a bad person.
Hmm.
Like, I want to rip that dude's head off. Like, I used to have thoughts like that all the time. I'm going to kill that motherfucker. I'm going to rip his head
Hmm.
off and shit down his throat. I mean, I had the craziest violent thoughts. Like, I used to have them all
Hmm.
the time. They kind of don't anymore, but uh, they used to be pretty darn prevalent. Like, it was
Oh wow.
like if I told you some of
Hmm.
the thoughts I had, I was like, wow, they were really violent. Um, but I would just kind of like when I went through this process of
Hmm.
learning to just sort of watch them and not like get caught up in them. Like there's one thing, you have a violent thought and you want to go do something violent, right? And there's another thing to just witness and watch the violent thought, right? That's
Hmm.
different, right? And that's the power. Like, wow,
Totally.
that's a crazy thought.
Yep.
And that's what it was started happening. I was like, wow, that was a crazy one. You kind of laugh at it. Wow, woo.
Yeah. It's like,
Oh,
wow. How did that come
wow,
out? Yeah.
that
Yeah.
wasn't
Somebody
very
else.
nice. You know what I mean? But you're kind of laughing at like the insanity of the thoughts that are happening in
Hmm.
your mind. And that's because I'm not identifying with it. I'm not attached to it. And I don't feel guilty because I'm having this thing. I'm just witnessing it and going, wow.
And when you do it that way, Sheldon, you're not suppressing it. Go, don't be thinking that because it goes back down in, as we've been
Right.
talking about before. If you sit there and you laugh at it, or go like, "Wow, that was really horrible. That was a bad thought. Why is that there?" You're allowing that to come up.
Yeah.
Okay, you're allowing it to surface, and you're allowing it to go away because now
Yes.
it's
You're not
up and
attached to
gone.
it. And
Yeah.
there's a
So.
paradox in that because most of
Mhm.
us are the opposite. We do the opposite. We want to control that thing. We want to
Yeah.
repress it. We don't want to have it. We think we're bad if we have it. All that kind of stuff. The fundamental key is you're identifying. Number one is you're not your thoughts. Like if there's one thing, it's just like you're not the thoughts. The thoughts just are these instantaneous reactions that happen. It has to do with
Hmm.
trauma. It has to do with past. It has to do with a lot of things. You're not those things. You know, you're way beyond that. And if
Hmm.
you want to get into the you're an aspect of this divine creation. You're an aspect of the Father. You know what I mean. You have this consciousness that's way beyond all of this stuff. So there's a lot that is way beyond and way greater than the thoughts that you have, right? But
Hmm.
they're there. So then,
Yeah.
again, not getting in fights with every one of those things that happens, but just allowing yourself to sort of step back and get a kick out of the craziness that happens
Yeah.
to you, right? We've talked about this many times, right? But that is the essence of this Teal Swan quote, and she's really great. I'm a big fan of hers and big supporter. If you look her up and look at some of her stuff, she's very, 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 very good at just analyzing almost psychologically, like this is what your mind is doing, this is what your thoughts are doing.
Hmm.
Um, for me, I'm really big picture about it. I don't get into some of the granularity of like, oh, when this happened, she's really good at dissecting things and then just
Hmm.
helping you to see the nuts and bolts of what's actually going on.
And
So,
the so now on that thought of this, what we were talking about, we're not going to go into this situation. I had a situation in the last couple of weeks that I wanted to control some things that were being said. Okay, um, there was a chance like, well, why is that being said?
Yeah.
I could sit there and dwell on that and go deep into it and try to
Hmm.
figure out why, because I want to control this. But it was a look at it and go, okay, is it true? Is it not? And move on. I
Yeah.
could have sat there and gone like, well, why? And
Yeah.
gone deep, 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 deep,
Yeah.
deep
Or
into it.
woe is
Sometimes you
me.
need to.
Yeah. Why are
Yes.
people, why are these
Why is
things,
this
why is
being
this
said?
happening to me? Why is this, why is life happening to me
Hmm.
in this way? Oh no, and feeling,
Exactly.
you know,
And either
victimhood, if you will.
either you go deep down into it. Sometimes you need to go analyze it. But
Yep.
this one, if I would, it would have made everything worse because it was not. It was there, but it was like, okay, I don't need to control it right now.
Yeah.
And that'll be a discussion we'll probably have on another show because it's a really good
It,
topic
well,
to
Buddhists
add
have
to
this
it.
thing called the difference between judgment and discernment. You know what I mean? You still have to make
Oh, good.
distinctions. There's
Hmm.
discernment between is this true or not, or did this happen or not, blah, blah, blah,
Hmm.
versus, and judgment is really where I think you get into like, and this person's a bad person
Yeah.
or a
Okay.
good person, right? So, but
Yeah.
can you make distinctions about whether these things are true or not? You know what I mean? Like, is
Yeah,
this true? Is
without
that correct?
making a judgment
Yeah.
and making it worse. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it could be. Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, so that on that kind of thing. That's exactly what you're talking about. It's like I could have gone in to try to control,
Yeah.
but the control was not trying to go in
Yeah.
and control.
And the
Basically,
trick is that our mind
that's
wants to
freedom.
control always.
Oh, always.
That is just the state of the mind, and the mind
Hmm.
thinks that the only part of you that's real is your body. And then when you
Hmm.
know what I mean? So it's in fear, right? Because your body is separate from things, whereas your spirit, your soul is connected to everything, and that's different, and it's one with everything. So there's a difference. So the body, from the perspective of the body, the mind just, recognize that the mind is acting from the perspective of the body, the physical body alone. And so,
Hmm.
wants to keep you safe, wants to keep you, away from, danger and all that. So it's not a bad thing that's happening, but it is a patterned thing that's happening
Yes.
based on this perception that you are just the body. And when you understand that, then you can have compassion even for your violent, crazy thoughts or your fearful
Hmm.
thoughts. And like I said, you shift how you respond to those things, right? You shift what is
Hmm.
even happening to those, and then you can choose. You can choose what you're going to do
And
with the reactions that you are having more clearly.
yeah, and we'll get into this deeper because Shell and I were talking about the last couple of weeks. But something that happened to me years ago, as I went through it, helped me to learn how to go through what it was the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
It was less of a deeper
Yeah.
situation, and it was like wow. When I looked at it, like wow, that
Yeah.
helped me here.
Yeah.
And so know that something you'd be maybe going through may be intense, but it's going to help you down the road. So learn from it. Always
Yes.
be learning from whatever you're going
Yeah.
through, and
Yes.
that's what this is kind of saying too. It's like what you can do is choose what to do with the reaction you're having.
Yeah.
So this is going on. It's hurting me. It's bad. If it's a bad thing, but how am I going to work with it? How am I
Yeah.
going to choose to deal with it?
Yeah.
Because that's going to come out as you deal with it positively and get through it. It's going to help you be
Yeah.
easier down the road. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no one way to do that, right? So each one of us are
No.
different, and each situation's different. And so, you know,
Hmm.
the idea is like you becoming more in tune with what you need in terms of self-care. Do I need to sit at home for a little bit and sit with this? Do I need to be
Hmm.
more compassionate to myself, whatever that is, right? And that's where it there's principles that are kind of consistent, and then the details of how each individual processes and deals with those things can become different. So we're just trying to talk about the broad picture, right? And so it sounds simple.
Hmm.
We know it's not, but yeah. So I guess what would be, I feel like that's kind of a wrap, right? What do you
Yeah.
think the homework would be?
I'm writing up homework right now.
Okay. So
We'll do it as we
now I'm,
talk.
I'm
So
going to
no.
read the quote again because it's
Hmm.
really like Teal Swan, right? This is all about Teal Swan.
Oh.
There's just episodes about Teal Swan, and in a beautiful, simple quote, you cannot control whether or not you have a reaction to something. You cannot even choose what reaction to have. What you can do is choose what to do with the reaction you are having. So,
I got it.
I think just sitting with that is homework enough, right? Really, really
Yeah.
contemplating that.
So basically, it's like biggest thing is when you get those clouds, don't focus on the cloud.
Yep.
Accept it and
Yep.
watch it. That was there. What was it?
Yep.
And then don't dwell too deep into it. It's
Yep.
very negative. So the homework is feel and accept any reaction that you're having,
Yep.
whether positive or negative.
Mm.
Okay, no matter what it is, whatever reaction you're having, accept it, and then start to see yourself or feel yourself to start choosing how. would
Yeah.
be.
And if you can identify the reaction that you're having, right?
Oh,
Wow,
there you go. There you go.
and so that and actually, honestly, that's a Buddhist thing when meditation they talk about anger, and we might have talked about it in previous podcasts. Like anger is present, like and you meditate and you feel
Hmm.
things coming up and you start to identify them. That helps you to not become with it. It helps you to witness it and separate yourself
Hmm.
from the thought when you're looking at the thought. You're going, wow, that was really angry. As you know, mine was a lot of anger. So mine are always anger. They weren't sadness ones, but people have, oh, I'm feeling really sad right now. Okay, fine. I was always
Hmm.
getting pissed about stuff, right? So, oh, there's anger, right? And you can feel that anger coming up and you're witnessing it. And so labeling it and identifying it helps you to get in this position where you're looking at it as a separate thing,
Hmm.
right? So they would
And
they would label it. So, oh wow,
yeah,
I'm feeling a lot of anger coming up right now. So when you as
yeah,
you're witnessing it, you're labeling, you're talking, you're
yeah.
describing it to yourself, and that helps
Hmm.
you to separate from it.
And you're feeling it, accepting it, and identifying that reaction.
Yeah.
It's like you're becoming aware at that
Yes.
moment. Not
And that's
don't just habitually react and go
yeah.
on. It's
Yep.
like, okay, why is that happening? What's
Yep.
going on here?
Yep.
Um, and then it's funny as we talked about this. Okay, you do that. Feel, accept, identify the reaction, and then choose what to do with it. How am
Yep.
I going to deal with this, or how am I going to react to it? I mean,
Yep.
how am I going to go forward with it?
Yeah. What am I going to do with it?
Makes
Yep.
me think about my dad. We've talked about it before.
Hmm.
He said, type your email when you're
Yep.
upset.
Go
Go
get
have
a
a cup
coffee.
of coffee
Yep.
and come back and relook at
Yep.
it. That's
Give
what you
yourself a
do when you,
moment, and
yeah,
and and that ties into, I think,
exactly.
breath. The
And
idea of
take it up.
breathing, right?
Yeah, when my dad says
Relaxing.
go get a cup of coffee, that's the
Yep. Yeah, taking a moment,
I'm
taking a
like,
deep
excuse.
breath.
Mm-hmm,
Feel it helps you to feel into your body. It helps you to relax the body. The body will get tense. The breathing helps to release that
mm-hmm,
stuff, so you don't get stuck in it. And that's a whole nother episode. There's a gazillion episodes on that. But
mm-hmm,
yeah, just taking a deep breath, taking a moment, taking a deep breath. And I do think that this instant, like being able to do this in the moment that something actually comes up, is the key to the transmutation, and to be able to shift the energy of it. Is oftentimes when we're so reactive, we're caught in that reaction and we're running away with it. And
mm-hmm.
then, it could be a month later before we realize, wow, I got really caught in that. But if you can do it in
But
that moment,
yeah, but the
right
biggest
then,
thing is, yeah, doing that moment. But the biggest thing is, as Sheldon just said, you may not recognize that. I do it like it's whatever time it is right now. I do it in 4 hours later. I'm like, oh God, I shouldn't have reacted that way to Sheldon. What was going on with that?
yep,
You recognize it now.
yep,
Okay.
yep,
Now it gets closer and closer. Now when I do it, it's like, whoa,
yep,
how am I going to deal with this
yep,
right now?
yep,
So it's not it won't happen tomorrow. For
yeah,
some of you, it does. Hallelujah.
yeah.
It will.
If you can do it, that's awesome. Let us
So,
know. We'll talk to you on the show. We
exactly.
want to interview you, right? Because that's beautiful.
It'll
And we're going
take
to share
time
that
because
with
you're learning. It's a
you. Yeah,
personal
yeah,
transformation
yeah,
to peace and happiness.
yeah,
A transformation doesn't happen overnight. I
yep,
mean, it didn't happen to me overnight. I mean,
yep,
it was quicker, which was a blessing. Thank you, Lord, for helping me go through that quicker. But know that it's gonna take time. It's
yep,
okay,
yep.
but just as long as you recognize it and identify it, and then you can start working through it.
And
So,
these things will ultimately bring greater level of peace and happiness than you ever realized possible.
yeah.
So that's the
Oh,
truth.
oh, yeah.
So yes, this whole thing is how you get happiness, lasting peace and happiness,
Mhm.
right? So
Yep. Exactly. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. Definitely want
yeah,
you to share with friends and family. And um, we enjoy comments every now and then. We get some comments here and there. So please
yep,
comment on our thing. And Sheldon will put that quote in the
yep,
podcast information too, because that was
yep,
a really good quote. And, other than that, great week. Hope you guys are all doing well up there. And holiday season is coming up. So breathe,
yeah. Breathe.
stop, drop, and breathe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stop, drop, and breathe. Take a deep breath.
Every minute,
Exactly.
stop and breathe. So here it comes, people. We know it's coming. So let's just enjoy the season and have
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
So, but hey, keep that smile on and love you guys.
Love you guys. Thanks.